Would President Biden ever undo his executive order that stopped the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline?
Are you suggesting that would solve the gas prices issue?
Well, do you think that that would maybe affect prices faster than getting the whole country off of fossil fuels?
I actually don't think it would. The Keystone was not an oil field. It's a pipeline. Yeah. Also, the oil is continuing to flow in just through other means. So it actually would have nothing to do with the current supply imbalance.
So gas prices are approaching an all-time high per gallon. How high would they have to get before President Biden would say, I'm going to set aside my ambitious climate goals and just increase domestic oil production, get the producers to drill more here, and we can address the fossil fuel future later?
Well, again, Peter, the U.S. produced more oil this past year than in President Trump's first year. Next year, according to the Department of Energy, we will produce more oil than ever before. Those are the facts in terms of oil production. And again, right now there are 9,000 unused approved permits to drill onshore. So I think you're misidentifying what the actual issue is. But if we're looking to the future and what we can do to prevent this from being a challenge in future crises, the best thing we can do is reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and foreign oil, because that will help us have a reliable source of energy so that we're not worried about gas prices going up because of the whims of a foreign dictator.
Right, and you guys think that asking Saudi Arabia or Venezuela or Iran is reducing our dependence on foreign oil?
That's actually, I just outlined each of those specific scenarios and the range of discussions that we're having with each of those countries. I don't think
clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide electric vehicle charging network so that people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
And it sounds like you guys are blaming Putin for the increase in gas prices recently, but weren't gas prices going up anyway?
Well, I think there's no question that, as we have seen, and outside analysts have conveyed this as well, the increase in the anticipated continued increase, which is, I think, what some of your colleagues were asking about. And also, there was an anticipation of that was factored in as gas prices have gone up.
So you say that you're going to do everything that you can to reduce the impact that high gas prices have on Americans. We're asking other countries to think about maybe pumping more oil. Why not just do it here?
Well, to be very clear, federal policies are not limiting the supplies of oil and gas. Let me finish. Let me finish.
An executive order his
Peter,
first week that halted new oil and gas.
Let me give you the facts here, and I know that can be inconvenient, but I think they're important in this moment. To the contrary, we have been clear that in the short-term supply must keep up with the demand. We are, and here and around the world, will we make the shift to a secure, clean energy future. There are 9,000 approved drilling permits that are not being used. So the suggestion that we are not allowing companies to drill is inaccurate. The suggestion that that is what is hindering or preventing gas prices to come down is inaccurate.
Would President Biden rescind his executive order that halts new oil and natural gas leases on public lands?
Well, 90% of them happen on private lands, as I'm sure you know, and there are 9,000 unused approved drilling permits. So I would suggest you ask the oil companies why they're not using those if there's a desire to drill more.
Would you close down the oil industry? By the way, I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I would
that's
transition.
A big statement.
It is a big statement.
That's a
because
big statement.
I would stop.
Why would you do that?
Because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
I see.
Here's the deal. But
that's
you
a
can't
big
do
statement.
that. Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time.
Yesterday, Secretary Blinken said that sanctions on Russia over Ukraine have nothing to do with cooperation with Moscow on the Iran nuclear deal. But today, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov doubled down in saying that all participants must have unhindered cooperation. Are you doing anything to provide Russia any kind of written guarantees in order to bring this, Iran nuclear deal over the finish line?
Well, again, I think on this, we're making progress together. Russia is a member of the P5+1 I don't think anyone believes it's in their interest for Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon, and that is how we're approaching these negotiations and discussions. And certainly, as the Secretary of State said just yesterday, we don't believe that the sanctions on them have anything to do with that shared goal. Go ahead.
What's the status of those talks?
We're continuing to make a great deal of progress. Obviously, the harder things always happen at the very end of the process, and that's where we are.
Our transportation sector has reached a turning point. We are all in the midst of a turning point. We have the technology to transition to a zero-emission fleet. Our administration, together, all of us, is working to make that possibility a reality.
You, if I could, Jen, some comments from people we've met at gas stations today. One woman saying, "I just never imagined to see the cost of gas be this high." Another said, "It's a huge stressor to my financial situation, a huge stressor. It's kind of like something I've stressed about, like during the day, will I be able to afford gas? How much money do I have?" What is the White House, what is the President's message to Americans who are going to the gas station today and seeing prices so high?
Well, the President's message is that he is going to do everything he can to reduce the impact on the American people, including the price of gas at the tank. What is also true is that because of the actions of President Putin, already taken steps, the President has already taken steps, historic release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
But is it really worth doing business with a despot like Nicolas Maduro to drive down gas prices?
And part of our focus is also on the health and welfare of detained U.S. citizens. Well, a separate process, still that is part of our engagement with them. So at this point in time, I don't have anything to predict. It's ongoing. I just don't have anything to convey at this point.
Just today, Russia said that it could cut off fuel through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, not Nord Stream 2. To what extent are you concerned that European allies who depend so incredibly on these oil and gas imports from Russia could really be?
Well, I think we have been concerned from the beginning about, and you are right, Andrea, as you well know, that the Nord Stream 1-2 threat aside, the reliance on the import of Russian oil is so much more significant in Europe, that well over the course of time, it's clear they recognize the need to diversify their means of getting oil. This is a bigger challenge and puts them in a more challenging position.